Hello and welcome back to the Unrehearsed Podcast. It is your host, Giselle. And boy, did we have an insane weekend. Not in the positive way. We had one of those dreaded midnight phone calls, middle of the night phone calls. And whew, that really does take you out. I mean, we've had kind of few scares in the last couple of months, but it is never a good feeling when you are confronted with that kind of a situation. We did get a call from Matt's mom in the middle of the night, and she is okay, thankfully. But in the moment, we were just not sure. We There was just a lot of things going on, and we just were really scared. It scares the shit out of you when there's something like that happens. And all the questions kind of come to your brain, and you're starting to think, all of these things. And I feel like there was when you're in a situation, you're kind of in damage control. You kind of start to think about all the situations, all the scenarios, all the things that are going to need to happen afterwards. And it was a for all of us, I think that we all kind of knew, things just kind of, I don't know. I feel like each individual person has their idea of what should happen or what's going to happen or how you're going to handle it. And I don't think that we ever try to impose things on other people. And so one of those things was that Matt was going to have to move in with his mom because there's just no way, she's, gonna need help, whatever. And he never tried to force me or like, tell me or, whatever, like you have to do this, you have to move in, whatever it is. And I think that that was, that's just it's such a character, such a, like, part of his character, right? It's like, I'm not going to force you to do anything. I'm not going to, like, ask you or put you in a position or do anything like that. Um, but I will say that there was a moment where I just kinda grabbed his hand and I'm like, "We're in this together." Like, regardless of where you need to go, what we need to do, who whatever, like, "Got you. We got you." Like, we're in this together. And I feel like I have not stopped thinking about that moment. And it really just boils down to, um, he has me 100%. Most of the time, I'm the one with the crazy. I'm the one with the crazy, like the people, the things, the events. I mean, like I'm the one that usually draws in the crazy. And he has always been a very strong and steady person for me, regardless of what happens. And in that moment, it was just like for me, such an honor to just be able to be that I have you person. Um, and I think that even though we all kind of we both know that we have each other. Like, he has me, I have him, like without question. Um, Not having to question that in a situation that's that crazy, I think is just such a godsend. Um, it's not your problem. It's not his problem. It's not my problem. It's our problem. Like we're we're in this together. We're a team. Um, and that's why I love marriage. That's why I love like when people get married and why they have their chosen partners and like it's just not fun. It's not just fun. It's not just like I have somebody to do cool shit with. It's not, I have, a person that I expect to see for a very long time every day. Like it is unromantic a lot of the time. A lot of the time I want to say that it's an issue. It's problems. It's hospitals. It's midnight phone calls. It's, for people who have kids, it's messy kids. It's, schedules and all of those things. Um, but what it always is a team. It's always a buddy. It's always a person. It's always this like a someone else that is going through something with you. Um, And what an honor that is to have somebody that's that's there all the time for you, and that you can rely on. And, you know, I feel like it is standing in front of a scary thing and being like, "What are we gonna do?" And I think that when you're standing in front of a scary thing by yourself, you can do it 100%. Like, especially for especially for us women, especially for me. I mean, like, I stand in front of a scary thing and I'm like, "I'm gonna figure it out. I got this. I got it." Um, I don't need nobody needs it. But how nice it is to have somebody to do that with. There is a insane amount of safety when something like this happens and you just know that they're not going to go running the other way. Like, I don't ever have to wonder. And he doesn't ever have to wonder for me either. Like, it's just such a like level of like ride or die. And I think that that is what being somebody's person is. And I think this whole situation had me thinking about divorce in the craziest way. I just feel like because there have been multiple instances where I have been in a room full of women and you go around the room and you introduce yourself. And most of the time, I will hear one person say, recently divorced, or I've been divorced for however many years. And the whole room of women will break out into an insane cheer. And it just confuses and icks the shit out of me. I never understood it. I understand that divorce is necessary for some people. I understand that divorce can almost be good in some situations. But why are we cheering? Why are we why are we celebrating the end of something that was supposed to be pure? That is the purest thing I think that is on this planet. Love. How can, like, where did we turn that corner where we don't know this person's situation? We have no idea where the divorce came from. We don't know what happened. Um, why are we cheering for that? Like, why are we cheering that people fell out of love? Why are we cheering for people that had something beautiful at one point enough to get married and then had it disintegrate in their hands, literally? And we're cheering for that. Like, that's sad. That's a horrible thing. And I feel, and again, the little asterisk always has to come out because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm targeting anybody. But there are situations where I understand. I've had my share. I've had my share of toxic men. I've had my share of abusive men. I've had men put hands on me. I've had men do all of the things. You name it. I've got it. The list is there. But I just like, even after all of that, can't look at my marriage or other people, and not just mine. I can't look at another person's marriage and be like, "Oh, you're gonna be so happy if you get divorced." What the fuck? Like, we have turned the corner so far into the "you don't need no man," and that's kinda where I feel like the cheering is coming from. The cheering is coming from, like, "You don't need no man." Like, ew. I did like, and I feel like there's a good version of that cheer, right? And I'm like, I'm not saying that all cheering for divorce is bad. I'm just saying that there is a good and a bad. But most of the time, I get the F that man cheer instead of the good for you for doing something that you know was right in the moment. Like, there is a place sometimes, sure, it might be a relief. Sure, it might be something that really needed to happen. I got that. Good for you for taking the step. Um, I just don't think that there is like, most of the time, we never cheer for that fresh start. We never cheer for the good for you, endless possibilities. It's always the negative. It's always the like, that man. Like, what like that man ain't you know what I'm saying? Why? Where did we like where I just and I say this because I don't want us to become so cynical of love that commitment to a person, that marriage, that purity of marriage ends up just looking foolish. Like commitment ends up being foolish. Commitment ends up being a joke. I don't think that that's a good like road to go down. I don't think we should be celebrating the death of love. I don't think that we should be. You know what this reminds me of? There is a movie, Enchanted. Giselle is the main character, funnily enough. But she is a cartoon character who goes, there are spoilers. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's so old. Like if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. But the character ends up in the real world and she ends up with a divorce attorney. There, she kind of just blows up into their lives. And there's a part in the movie where, there's a couple that's getting divorced and he's, whatever, they're having a meeting to the two parties. And, she goes over and sees the woman and it's like, oh, of course he fell in love with you. Like, look at how beautiful you are. And all of these, like, she's just like so in love. And she's in love for her, Um, and then, they pull her away and Patrick Dempsey's character is like, they're separating. They're not going to be together anymore. And she just like comes apart. She comes unglued and she's just like forever. And she just like starts crying and there's like it's a whole situation, right? And I feel like that's really what we should be feeling. Like circumstances matter, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm not telling you to sit down and like completely stop your entire life or whatever and, cry and grieve, whatever, for years or whatever. But do we really need to have divorce parties? Do we really need to go out to the club and celebrate that your marriage ended? And it's like some kind of a award or a gift or what happened? That's just really so weird to me. That is so abstract to me. And I think that this situation has made it like I've always thought this is not a new thing that I've always had this thought. This has always been a thing that I've really and truly believed. But this situation this weekend made it just so obvious that I really, really stand 10 toes down on this situation because of how much safety, how much reliability, how much commitment, how much like all of the things that just make life easier, that make things less scary. Marriage is for me. Um, and the other part of that is I think that I have seen so many good men in my life personally firsthand um, take care of their families. Like do everything they possibly can for their families, have a family of their own, and still going back and helping the others, helping the born family, right? Helping the family that you were born into. Um, and I think that I just think that they deserve to be acknowledged. I just think they deserve to be seen, and I think that I just don't want any of the men in my life to only hear the bad come out of my mouth. I think that men hear a lot. That man ain't shit. like bad men, all of these, like all the horrible things about men and creepy men, the this man, the blah, 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 blah. When do you hear about the good man? Like, when do you hear about the good man that came up, that showed up, that was there, that dedicated, that pushed, that was holding it down for everybody? Like, where is the parade for that man? Where is the party for that man? Where is the thanks for that man? I feel like we are so in a time of just weird stuff. I don't know. But I just don't want that to be I don't want it to be I don't want them to hear it from my mouth. I don't want that to be the case in my case. Um, I think that family is definitely who shows up without question. Um, who shows up, who's the committed, who's the dedicated, who is the people like life will move chairs in and out of your table with any circumstance that comes up. And I get that. Sometimes people are there, sometimes people are not. Sometimes people stay for a hot second and then leave. But the family that really stays and the family that really is chosen and you stand with and stand for and will be there for, um, sometimes choosing them also means choosing the people that they choose and the people that they love and the people that they've committed to. And I think that that is why it was such a like no-brainer for me to just be like, of course, we don't even need to talk about it. We don't even need to think about it. And I think that how special is that? Um, there is not a single person in the world that I would choose over my man, because I know for a fact that he has got me. And I hope to freaking God that after all of this, he knows that I've got him too. And I think that that is really the real essence of love and the real dedication of marriage. And we shouldn't push too far on the dial. I think we need to take a hot second to appreciate the people who show up in our lives and to really take a good look at how we treat everybody in our lives, because it's scary out here. It's scary out here. A lot less scarier when you have a man, especially a man like mine. So, um, I love you, and I love all of you. I will catch you guys in the next one. Mwah. See you later. Bye.